Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, concerts that made us, interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down, the greatest live shows and that cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
Hey, this is Wayne from Deitys Muse.
And Sashan from Deitys Muse.
And you're listening to the concerts that made us.
Awe.
Lankawe.
Wayne and Sashan, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for being here. Now, big news on the horizon. Deitys Muse are supporting Caligula's horse this August in South Africa. Tell us all the details.
Sure. Well, yeah, we're really excited about it because all four of us are actually huge Caligula's horse fans. And they're coming out for two exclusive shows. Their first show is in Stellenbosch, which is right next door to Cape Town, on Friday, the 23rd of August. And their second show is Joburg at a venue called Sonnage. And that's Saturday, the 24th. And yeah, we get to play both shows. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Very much fun.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. How did you guys get the support slot?
We're actually signed with the same booking agent. So yeah, something's got to do with that, yeah. And we've done quite a lot of touring in the UK with the same booking agent, and yeah, it's we're quite lucky to be involved in it. I also myself I work for the management company that's doing the promotion of the show too, and we bring a lot of bands to South Africa. And if it suits us and the timing is right, and deities are firing on all cylinders, then we try and get us on the bill as well. And if it's a band that doesn't suit us, then we just go and watch the show as spectators.
Right, right. So what you're telling me is Deitys Muse has a bit of an unfair advantage then.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, but yeah, it's something we've done for many years, bringing bands over, and we get lots of local bands to get on board and support the bands too. And we've done a fair bit of work in getting some local bands from South Africa out overseas to tour with the likes of Ginger and bands like that. So yeah, it's giving back to the community.
Yeah, I think we've got the upper hand there because we've been in this thing for about 20 years now. And the one thing that you realize it's very important is to establish some kind of relationship with people that are in a business that's a full-time business. Where we come from, we're part-time musos, but it's a thing that's taken a long time for Wayne and Duncan to work on and get to a point where we as a band are good enough to sort of say, okay, what about us being around these kind of guys? And yeah, so I think yeah, it's the upper hand, but it's also at the same time lots of hard work.
100%.
I get you. I get you. What are you guys looking forward to most about the gigs?
Firstly, seeing Caligula's horse live, because we're on the very far reaches of the planet. It's not a tour circuit that normally forms part of a world tour. So just having the band here in South Africa is a very big deal for us, especially from a progressive alternative rock standpoint, because it's not a very big genre in South Africa at all. It's very much underground. And just getting to hang out with the guys and getting to play the shows and seeing the fans of Caligula's horse, who I know will be crying tears of joy when the band finally gets on stage.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at it as a band, we've been through a slow stage in terms of live playing. I think this might be our third or fourth show this year, Wayne. Am I right? Mm-hmm. Correct? Wrong?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And it's like we get this opportunity to do this thing that we don't do very often at the moment, at like a pretty high level, and it's really awesome to like prepare for this kind of thing mentally and get yourself up to scratch, because you got to put on a show. It's a bit daunting when the headlining act is a fucking juggernaut. But it's hectic, but that's why we do it. It's like you want to show people like it's time to have a good time, and we're here to have a good time too.
Definitely, definitely. You've got a couple of weeks left now at this stage. What does this time look like for the band? Is it, 100% rehearsing every day, almost in panic mode, or are you guys kind of chilled out about it?
I think we're quite chilled out about it. What our routine normally is when we're preparing for shows, all shows, whether they're big or small, is that each of us individually rehearses at home to our songs with click tracks and with our instruments, and myself singing with my guitar and everything in my office. And we prepare ourselves before we get into that band room. We're kind of already like 90% tight before we get together and actually put the whole set list together and rehearse as a four-piece.
Right. I get you. I get you. Now, something I've noticed about you guys is, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, the scene in South Africa is very small, and it seems like I've said it before, I haven't said it for a while, but it seems like, when bands are starting off in other countries, they're starting up here. But in South Africa, when a band starts off, they're starting way down here. It's like the cards are almost stacked against them more so than other bands in other countries. But you guys, you seem like you have made it. You're the big guys, you're up with the other bands up there. What advice would you have for, bands starting off? How can they get to your level in South Africa?
Yeah, I think Sashan put it quite succinctly with the fact that we've been around for 20 something years. So the whole thing of being where we are now has taken us a very long time to get here. So for me, I would say longevity and learning, like sticking around and working on your craft, even if it takes many years. You don't want to be a fly by night. You're not going to be getting big all of a sudden from your garage to the stage, one gig, and all of a sudden everyone's talking about you. It does happen, but it happens very rarely. And if you're in South Africa, it even more so. And it just takes a lot of hard work, a lot of networking, a lot of listening to your heroes very closely and learning from them, and also trying to find your own sound. Because when you're in a small scene, you tend to take on the sounds of the bands that you're into, the guys that are your heroes, and then it takes you a long time to get out of that. Like when we first started, we kind of had like a Nirvana sound, and it's taken a long time for us to find our place in an artistic perspective.
Right, right. That's interesting. That's interesting. Do you think for South African bands, something they need to do and have to do is, play other countries, go to Europe, get exposure over there? Obviously, that helps with making it at home, does it?
Um, I would say that's a bit of a dual-edged sword, because if you don't have the backing of people locally, going out into the world of, well, the big wide world is even scarier. The best thing is to take a look at what you have around you, and see the reaction to that before trying anything overseas. Because if you look at musicians in this country at the moment, if a dude's buying a pair of drumsticks or a pair of strings or something like that, it's a thought that hits their heads, not anything other than a cost perspective. Because I mean, everything that we got to use, all the equipment, the gear, most of it's imported. And for a small country like us, I think it's extremely important to sort of find your sound, find yourself with whatever you have in your hands, and then say, is this good enough? And then say, can I take this to the next level, being the bigger world? So it's always easy to say there's a chance out there, but where you are right now is a good enough place to start. And I think we've got a great scene at the moment. It's been dead for a bit, but after COVID, I was like extremely shocked to see new faces and young kids at shows again. And I think that's what propels the artists to a bigger arena. Is the more support they have from their home base. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, it definitely helps with your confidence, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as well, you guys, something I'm very excited about is you guys are currently working on your next full-length album. I know it's early days yet, but what can you tell us about it at this stage?
It's definitely early days still. I'm starting to feel like we are, like how Tool took 13 years to make an album.
Oh God.
Um, it feels like that, except it hasn't really been like that. Our plans were kind of derailed somewhat because we had decided we were going to release 3 EPs as a trilogy, and then COVID happened. So because of COVID and the whole prolonged not being able to go out and do shows and tour a new release has kind of pushed us into a new direction of actually writing music for a full length instead of just an EP. So we kind of had like a full EP almost done as the third EP and decided, well, you know what, let's just carry on writing and writing and writing and do like they do old school where you write like say 20 songs and you choose only the bangers and you do pre-production on those and then you hit a proper recording on all of them and put them out as a full length. So as far as the vibe goes, it's perhaps grittier than what we have on the 2 EPs and a little darker, if I could say it's a bit darker, but it's still early days.
Right. Are you, what stage are you guys at? Are you close to recording, or is there a chance that people that go to these gigs might hear some new tracks?
Not a chance.
Right.
Yeah, we've got about I think about 8 or 9 songs that are like sort of pretty like structured. But I mean, as Wayne is saying, these things, COVID hit, and then all of a sudden our lives hit. So everything sort of seems to be taking a little longer. But every time we do I mean, we don't get to see each other very often. I mean, Wayne, last time I saw Wayne, we worked together for probably about 3 or 4 hours in my little office over here at home. And I think that was probably about a month ago, Wayne, if I'm
Yeah,
not
it was about a
mistaken.
month ago.
Yeah, so like for me myself, I've been busy every day because I'm sort of getting into the production side of things as well. So I'm just trying to learn and push myself that way. So when it does come time to the album, we've all got a bit of different input, but I think yeah, things are sounding really really cool. We've developed a new understanding, I think, as a band, because the longer for me, the longer I stay away from it, the more I want to do it. And yeah, so I can't wait to do this fucking thing.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Would it be fair to say maybe early next year then we can get to hear it, or?
Yeah, probably like if you think about the first quarter, Wayne,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the
That's
end
the
of that.
plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere there.
I mean, the
Somewhere
last time
there.
we toured the UK or even like an international tour was in 2019, pre-COVID. So we really want to come back with an album rather than just an EP to tour with. So there is a plan in place for touring overseas again next year, and it just makes more sense to us to be armed with a brand new album and something new to the table. Something like a fire under our asses to get this whole thing going again. We faced a few like tragic things going on post COVID as well, which were unexpected, and it kind of derailed us for a while. And I think a lot of that's also finding its way into the new music. So we're just letting it breathe and become what it wants to become.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I'll tell you, I don't know, you're just building my anticipation, my excitement for it. I want it to be next year already.
Yeah.
Right. The podcast is called Concerts That Made Us. So we need to talk about some concert experiences, if you don't mind. First off, as a concert goer, what concerts would you say have made you?
Sure. There's a few, but I would think like the earliest memory of like music moving me uh, was Sepultura at the baseline in Johannesburg, which is about was it 800 to 1,000 uh, venue, I think. That was the first time in my life I ever felt scared that I would get fucking crushed against the barricade. That was the first time I ever felt like music actually moved me like that, by the fact that people were just so up close to each other. I remember being like, yo, let's get to the front of the rail and stand in the front and see what happens. Before the band even got on, before the Sepultura even got on stage, I just remember feeling this like force behind me start pushing. And I played rugby at school for like most of my high school career. I thought I was a strong guy, but I've never felt that pressure on my body ever. And that was before the music started. And then as Sepultura starts, you know, it's the tribal sound of these fucking drums, of this dude that's sitting behind the biggest toms you've ever seen. And it was, at that time, the loudest show I ever heard. I honestly felt quite scared. But yeah, that was the first time I was like, oh, that's what energy feels like, man. That's what music does to you, you know. That was a big, yeah, it was 2004, I think that was.
I was at that show, and actually, I used to have very long hair, and I was squashed right against that barrier by completely relentless crowd goers, and they kind of pulled my hair out because it was impossible to get out of there. And I don't think my hair's grown back since.
Right.
If you've ever been in a mosh pit or some kind of group activity, you always feel like the ebb and flow of it. This was like fucking unbelievable force, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Like a
Yeah, it was
tidal
crazy.
wave.
Yeah.
And you live to tell the tale.
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, crazy.
Yeah. When it came to my first concert that I ever got to see was actually Skunk and Nancy back in 1996, I think. 1996 at the Ellis Park Arena, which used to be called Standard Bank Arena. And that was incredible. They were amazing. This is on the Stoosh tour. And yeah, I'll never forget that experience. That was my first time ever seeing an international band live.
Man, it's a good one to have as your first concert as well. I haven't heard of them in a very long time.
They were heavy. They really were. I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
believe how heavy they were.
Yeah. I'd love them to kind of have a major resurgence. They were a great band.
Yeah.
Now, for any listeners that haven't caught one of your shows, what are they like? Give us the full experience if you can.
Ooh. I think over the years, being a band, you always pick up people saying things and passing comments, and the one thing that's always been prevalent in us as a band is, fuck, you guys are fucking tight.
Yeah.
We work really hard on making sure that the live sound is as good as what you hear, or even better. I think we're a better live band than we are a recorded band.
Yeah.
We're not a move around, jump around kind of band, but we get into it, and it's fun. It's fun to see people, even if it's just a head moving. I mean, we're not a mosh band, but when you start seeing people's head moving in unison up from the stage, you're like, yeah, you guys get it. It's cool. So yeah, it's an experience of not necessarily technicality, but we can groove and we do it pretty well, I think.
spacey and floaty, but lots of grooves. And you'd feel like maybe you were taking psilocybin, but you definitely didn't take psilocybin. It's just the music takes you there.
Right, right. Sounds like a hell of a gig. Now, you know, when you think of your fans, the audience, is there any memorable interactions that stick in your mind that you've had over the years?
Hmm. Wayne,
Deity.
I don't pay attention to anyone in the crowd, to be quite honest. So yeah, I think Wayne might be a better answer there.
One of the big things that always stands out for me is when people sing along. Um, I think maybe just for me personally, because I write the lyrics, and it really touches me when I actually see people mouthing the words, and I can hear the singing coming back towards us. And just speaking to people afterwards when they come and tell you about what the lyrics have done for them, and that it reminds them of, like, say, a particular moment in time, or like something they're going through and how it helps them get through things. And that to me is like the job done, like we try and make music for ourselves, but it's a very therapeutic thing for ourselves, and it does translate to other people, and it's very cool that they get some kind of therapy out of it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In the past, you guys, you've played with the likes of Bring Me the Horizon, Ginger, and Monuments, and you've played major festivals across UK and Europe, as well as back in South Africa. Is there a performance that is maybe your favorite? You know, it was the high point. It couldn't have got any better.
There's a few of those actually.
Yeah, there's a
but
few.
yeah, I mean, some of the bands we get to play with is unbelievable. We got to play with Dead Letter Circus and Carnival, and a Carnival on my top 5 bands, and I was like, I cannot believe that we're doing this. that was another experience that I can't possibly. If you have some kind of emotional tie to music, one way or the other, if it makes you happy, makes you sad, makes you feel like you want to break a fucking TV or whatever it is, when you hear someone play that song live, it does something to you. It takes you back to a spot where you're like, I was feeling like that, I was feeling like this. And I think we get to play with some bands and even watch some bands. We played Bloodstock in 2019. Am I correct, Wayne?
2018.
2018. And we got to see Gojira headline on the Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's unbelievable, man. There's points as a band. I mean, Norwich. We played Norwich in England with Monuments. That was the first time we looked at each other on stage and we were like, "What the fuck is happening?" It was just flow. So we're amazed at what we get to see and what we get to do, but it gives us even more like power and fuel to say we can keep having these moments,
Yeah, I mean, I remember that Norwich show was actually what I was going to mention, because like everything gelled on that tour with Monuments. Like, I think that was the best we played as far as an international tour is concerned. And I remember being on that tour playing in Birmingham and going to pee just before we were about to play, and someone standing next to me peeing and just looking at me and going, "Are you guys going to play Sleep Escape tonight?" And that's how I knew that things were finally starting to translate outside of South Africa out to the UK, that the hard work we were putting in that side was starting to pay off. And similarly, I remember James Monteith from Tesseract being at our London show the year before that, and he came to see us, and Mikey from Sixth came to see us when we played at the Crawford Arms in Milton Keynes with Monuments. So yeah, it's those moments, they will never leave me. I think if I had to be on my deathbed and my life flashed before my eyes, all of those will come flooding right back.
Yeah, Yeah. You do know now there's a guy going around England even today saying, do you know I took a piss next to Wayne from Deity's Muse?
Very exciting story.
Yeah, it could be the highlight of his life.
It
And
was
if
one
we
of the highlights of mine.
Yeah.
if you switch that question around then without naming names over your entire careers, is there a gig that you would say is the worst experience? Everything fell apart, and how did you overcome it?
Well, those are like most of them in the early days.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's like if you're a drummer and you ever played on a house kit that's been that's been at a venue for 10 years and still there when you're there 15 years later, then you know the trials and tribulations of playing hell shows. But uh, I'm hard to think, hard to find a memory that really was bad. No, nothing for me actually that sticks out.
Yeah, when it comes to the old days, there was one show that we played in a real backwards place in South Africa, um, back in like, was it maybe 15 years ago?
Oh
And
fuck! So is it Secunda?
yes, can you remember
Secunda, yeah. The place is called Secunda, by the way. It's quite,
Yes.
yeah. Wayne
And
Karen just
yeah,
a great story.
it's a crazy one. We were invited to play at this place, and when you showed up, it looked like sort of like a bar slash recreation center, and it was a bunch of bikers. And without, you know, mincing my words, a lot of these guys that were attending were clear racist people. They had the old South African flag up in their bar. There was some lady who definitely looked like she was underage dancing on a pole, and they wouldn't serve Sashan a drink because he's not a white guy. Um, our bassist, my brother Greg, who used to play for us, he used to have dreadlocks. They didn't want to serve him because he had dreadlocks. And the opening band played maybe two songs, and then the owners complained saying they don't want to listen to satanic music and maybe we should all leave. And that's what happened. So we didn't even get to play. That's my story about a fucked up gig. We didn't even get to play.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
that's the worst part. We didn't get to play.
We really were going to convert them.
Yeah, yeah. Needless to say, you haven't been back there since, have you?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. That is one of the worst I've heard now.
Yeah.
And when it comes to showtime, then your pre-show and post-show, how do you psych yourself up? And then afterwards, how do you guys wind down?
Pre-show for me, I psych myself up by making myself shit my pants with anxiety. But make sure everything. Most drummers, it's a thing of setting up and making sure that everything is right. I run like a lot of the tracks and stuff and coordinate a lot of that stuff with the electronics. So there's a bit of weight on the shoulders. So pre-show is a fucking nightmare until post-show hits, and then the joint hits the lips. But yeah, it's a lot of prep and warming up and getting the limbs ready on my side. Yeah, that's about it.
I spend about 45 minutes or so warming up my voice, and I can't sit down talking to people at all. I walk around a lot. I'll walk around the building if I have to. But I do spend a lot of time warming up the voice and just kind of getting into the moment and trying to get my heart rate lower. And when it comes time to actually playing, then you want to try and be in the moment and not think about anything else, but just feel what you're doing, being in the here and now. And when it comes time to winding down, that's the first time I'll have any alcoholic beverage is as soon as we get off stage. I like to have a beer or a whiskey just to chill out.
I like it. I like it. Sashan, one for you.
Yeah.
You've mentioned anxiety.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're in maybe a better position than the guys because you have a drum kit in front of you between you and the crowd? Does that ever come and play into it?
Well, that's probably the reason why I chose the 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 instruments. I get to sit in the back and not pay attention to what everyone else is doing and just do my own thing, eh?
Yeah.
It's a hard thing. It's stage anxiety is one thing, social anxiety is another thing. I once got, maybe a couple of years back, there was this young lady, she came up to me and she's like, I remember seeing you guys 10 years ago and I thought you were a total asshole. I was like, okay, why is that? And she's like, you just never spoke to anyone. You were just always on your own. And I'm like, fuck, I don't speak to anyone. It's because I fucking shit scared about doing that. Not anymore. I used to be. But it's these things that I think one thing about playing in a band that it does make a lot of sense with anxiety is that you've got something to say or something to show. Like you want to create something if that's what you want to do, but the thing of playing live scares the shit out of you. You got to make the step forward to sort of either overcome it or shy away and go back to your corner, you know. And all of these things, once you start becoming more comfortable in your skin and more comfortable in your playing and more comfortable in your ability to do these things, anxiety sort of subsides and stuff. It doesn't come back as hard as it used to, but it's a constant thing. Living in the world we're living in right now, if people don't have anxiety from just walking the streets, sometimes it's quite amazing. But yeah, it's a uphill to get over. Yeah,
Definitely. Now, before we dive into the last couple of questions, I normally ask future plans, but I think we've heard all your future plans. Is there anything else on the horizon you can share with us?
We're recording a single at the moment, so we're really excited about it. It's sounding really awesome, and we're hoping to get that out in the next month or two. And that's what's happening in the immediate future. And then obviously we got the album next year and tours lined up and possibly festival appearances next year overseas too. So that's all we have at the moment. Yeah.
Brilliant. You're busy, so right. We'll dive into the last couple. These are a couple of random fun ones. I'm looking forward to hearing your answers. First off, besides music and the band, what are you guys currently obsessed with?
Ooh. I was obsessed with chess for a bit, for like 4 or 5 months, and then I can't touch it anymore because it takes up too much of my time. But at the moment, I would say I'm going to be diving into the new Elden Ring soon. It's the Shadow of the Earth Tree. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, games.
Right.
Yeah.
And Wayne?
I'm currently obsessed with running. I enjoy running out in the park, running through forests, running down the road. I travel a lot for work, and I find myself taking my running shoes with me and waking up very early in hotels and going for runs through new towns that I kind of explore on my feet. I'm really into the running thing. Not enough to want to go run marathons and compete, just enough to go out and get some fresh air. And it's finding some stillness and almost like a therapy session in putting your body through the big test, you know.
I like it. Good one. The next one, it's a bit odd. If you had to spend 24 hours locked in a room with any musician from history, who would it be?
Whoa.
That's such a hard question. I can't even answer that. There's so many musicians. There's so many size rooms, and it's just got to be one in one room.
Yeah.
Oh, these are tight limitations. One, I'd say I would have to say Michael Jackson.
Right. Okay.
I'll leave it there, and you guess why.
Well, at
I'm
least
joking.
you're over 18, so you would be safe.
Yeah, exactly. I'm bigger than him, so I'll lock myself in with Michael Jackson. Cool.
Wow, I would probably just want to be locked up with Dave Grohl, because he has a shit ton of stories, and he seems like such a nice guy that I don't think we'd get to work on each other's nerves too much. I don't think he seems to be like a very moody guy, and I don't think you want to get locked up with guys who are known to get too into drugs and stuff like that, like the heroin guys, or that's the last kind of person you want to get locked up with. So I want to get locked up with someone who likes to have a good time and make the best out of a shitty situation.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Actually, I've done over 200 interviews at the moment, and nobody has ever answered that question with Motley Crue.
Wonder why.
Yeah. And the final question. So what's your go-to album? What's an album you constantly revisit?
There's a bunch, actually. Jeez. Tools Lateralis. It's practically my Bible. I keep going to it every couple of months throughout a year. I can't stop listening to it. Soundgarden Super Unknown is one that returns all the time. Anything from Radiohead, really, except for Pablo Honey. I can't really get into Pablo Honey, but the others find their way on constant rotation for me. Plenty, man. Neil Young, Harvest. I love that album. There's a whole bunch.
Yeah, me too. I think what's on the rotation at the moment that I've been playing quite often, there's a local band called Hokum. They used to be called Marlowe, and they made an album in 2003, I think it was. It's Lines from the Broken Telephone. I played that the other day, and I've been playing it every day since. So that's if anyone wants to see a great South African band, Hokum, Marlowe as well, they were amazing. Carnival, Sounds Awake, still around my head. The Contortionist, the Clairvoyance album, that was pretty cool. Sonder, Tesseract, those are the local, like the Palm Reader album. They're not a band, rest in peace anymore. Hey, they broke up. That's at the moment. I think those are on repeat in my brain.
Brilliant. Some great selections there. Listen, guys, it's been an absolute blast. Now I've really enjoyed this one. Thanks a million.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're interested in signing up to Band Builder Academy, use the link in the show notes below and enter the code CONCERTS and you'll receive 10% off. So, until next time, keep rocking.
Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here.